family pretended they canceled Christmas dinner due to Grandma's illness, but she just called me asking why I'm not there. I drove over and uncovered their real plan. Christmas was supposed to be different this year. Simple, quiet, or so I'd been told. Mom's not doing well, my sister, Laura, had said over the phone a few days ago. She's really weak. We don't think she should be around too many people right now. It stung, but I understood. Mom had been in and out of the hospital all year. If she needed rest, I wouldn't argue. Family came first. Always. But then, at 6:12 p.m. on Christmas Eve, my phone rang again. Sweetheart, why aren't you here? Mom's voice, frail but confused. Everyone's here. They're opening presents, eating. I don't understand. My stomach dropped. Wait, what? Laura said you weren't coming. That you were too busy this year. A pause. A long, heavy pause. Then, I grabbed my coat and keys. I drove. Fast. The roads were nearly empty, quiet under a thick blanket of snow. Streetlights cast eerie shadows over the frozen pavement, flickering in the distance like dying embers. My hands tightened around the wheel as a sinking feeling settled in my gut. Something wasn't right. I turned onto my childhood street, my breath catching at the sight of my parents' house. Lit up, packed with cars. Christmas wasn't canceled. It was happening. Without me. I led the engine, stepping out into the icy driveway. Laughter spilled from inside. The glow of the Christmas tree pulsed against the window like a heartbeat. My family was celebrating, eating, drinking, and they had lied to keep me away. I wasn't sure whether to knock or kick the damn door open. My fingers hovered over the handle, rage and confusion twisting inside me like barbed wire. Then I heard it. A voice. Low. Hushed. Dangerous. We needed to keep him out of this. He would have ruined everything. I froze. Who the HLL were they talking about? I leaned in closer. The conversation continued, murmured voices spilling from the other side of the door. Look, we did what we had to do. He can't find out. Not now. A beat of silence. Then, a sharp laugh. By the time he figures it out, it'll be too late. The floor felt like it had been ripped from under me. My pulse hammered in my ears as I stepped back, my breath coming in quick, sharp gasps. They were talking about me. I wasn't just unwanted tonight. I was being kept away on purpose. Why? I clenched my fists, my mind racing. What the HLL was my family hiding? Whatever it was, I was about to find out. I took a deep breath, steadying myself against the cold bite of the wind. By the time he figures it out, it'll be too late. The words clawed at my mind, laced with something more than deception. Something calculated. Premeditated. I wasn't just excluded. I was being kept in the dark. Not happening. I walked to the side of the house, keeping close to the wall. The laughter inside swelled, plates clinking, drinks pouring, voices overlapping in cheerful conversation. My breath fogged against the window as I peered in. And there they were. My entire family. Laura smiling. Dad, carving the roast. My uncles, aunts, cousins, every single one of them. Even Mom, wrapped in her favorite knitted shawl, sitting at the table perfectly fine. Not frail. Not sick. Not dying. I gritted my teeth. They lied to me. A sour taste filled my mouth, but I swallowed it down. This wasn't just about a holiday dinner anymore. Something else was going on. Then, movement caught my eye. In the hallway, near Dad's office, Laura and my cousin Daniel stood close, talking in hushed voices. Their body language was tense. Nervous. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. Laura shook her head, gripping his arm. I couldn't hear them through the glass. I needed to get inside. The back door. I moved quickly, slipping through the gate and stepping onto the patio. I tried the handle. Locked. No surprise there. But the kitchen window? Just slightly open. They were careless. With one hard push, I slid it up, hoisted myself onto the counter, and climbed in. My landing was silent. Years of sneaking snacks at midnight had trained me well. The warmth of the house hit me first, the smell of roasted ham, cinnamon, pine. It should have been comforting. Instead, it felt suffocating. I crept forward, staying low. Voices drifted from the hallway. We can't let him find out, Laura. Do you know what that would do? Daniel's voice. Tight. Afraid. It's already done. Dad made sure of it. I pressed my back against the wall, my breath shallow. And if he comes snooping? Laura hesitated. Then, her voice dropped to a whisper. Then we make sure he doesn't. A slow, seething rage burned through me. My own family. Talking about me like I was the enemy. I stepped forward. Enough. Their heads snapped up. Silence. Laura's face drained of color. Daniel flinched like I had a gun pointed at him. Make sure I don't what? My voice was calm. Controlled. But I felt the storm rising inside me. No answer. Just wide eyes. You canceled Christmas. Lied about Mom. Kept me away. I said, taking a step closer. Now, you're whispering in corners like I'm some kind of threat. My jaw clenched. So tell me, what exactly am I not supposed to find out? Laura opened her mouth. Closed it. Her fingers curled into her sweater, her nails digging into the fabric. Daniel took a step back. Cowards. I was done waiting. I turned, straight toward Dad's office. Wait. Laura lunged, grabbing my arm. You don't understand. I shook her off. Then explain. Her eyes darted to Daniel, panic flickering across her face, like she was scrambling for an excuse. No, no more games. I reached the office door, twisted the handle, unlocked. I pushed it open. The room was dimly lit, the soft glow of the desk lamp illuminating stacks of papers. Open files, a safe ajar, and on the desk, right in the center, a thick, yellowed envelope with my name on it. I stared at it. The blood in my veins turned to ice. Laura's voice wavered behind me. Dad didn't want you to see that. I picked it up, my fingers trembling. I bet he didn't, I murmured. Then, I opened it, and everything I thought I knew shattered. The envelope felt heavier than it should have, like it carried the weight of something I wasn't meant to hold. My name was scrawled across it in my father's handwriting, sharp, deliberate strokes that made my chest tighten. I pulled out the papers inside. My eyes skimmed over the first few lines, the words blurring together in a mess of legal jargon. Then I saw it. A will. My father's will. Dated 3 months ago. My breath caught. Dad wasn't dead. Why the HLL would there be a newly revised will? I turned the pages, scanning desperately for something, anything, that made sense. My vision tunneled as I found the section that mattered most. Primary beneficiary. My name. I blinked. Read it again. My heart slammed against my ribs. Not Laura. Not Daniel. Not anyone else. Me. The house. The business. Everything. I swallowed hard, my fingers tightening around the pages. This is why they kept me away. Laura shifted behind me, her voice barely above a whisper. You weren't supposed to see that. I turned slowly. Her face was pale, her lips pressed into a thin line. Daniel looked like he wanted to be anywhere but here. I exhaled sharply, holding up the will. You lied. To my face. You said Mom was sick, canceled Christmas, just to keep me from seeing this. Laura swallowed. You don't understand. Then explain it to me. My voice cracked, raw with betrayal. Explain why my own family tried to cut me out of something that's already mine. Daniel flinched. Laura clenched her jaw, but she didn't deny it. Because she couldn't. I stepped closer, my pulse thundering in my ears. Did Dad even know you were doing this? Or was this all you? Silence. That told me everything. Laura let out a shaky breath. Dad, he's not thinking straight. She crossed her arms, defensive. He changed the will after his last hospital visit. But we all know what's fair, and this, she motioned to the papers. This isn't fair. I laughed. A bitter, disbelieving sound. You mean it isn't fair to you? Laura's face hardened. You left. The words hit like a slap. You moved across the country, she continued, her voice sharp. You barely came back. Dad needed someone here. Mom needed someone here. We stayed. We handled everything. And then, out of nowhere, he decides to hand it all to you. My fingers curled around the will. So you thought you'd fix that by lying to me? Keeping me out of my own home? Daniel spoke up, his voice low. We didn't have a choice. A humorless smile tugged at my lips. You always had a choice. You just chose greed. Laura's eyes flashed with something I couldn't place. Guilt? Anger? Maybe both. But I didn't care. I turned back to the desk, shuffling through the other documents. If there was one secret, there had to be more. And then, I found it. A small, folded letter with my father's handwriting across the front. For my son. I hesitated, the edges of the paper crinkling beneath my grip. Laura stiffened. Don't. I unfolded it. And as I read the first line, my stomach dropped. If you're reading this, it means I never got to tell you the truth. The words blurred for a second. My grip tightened on the letter as I forced myself to focus. If you're reading this, it means I never got to tell you the truth. My pulse pounded. I read on. I wanted to do this in person. I wanted you to hear it from me. But I don't know how much time I have left, not because of my health, but because of them. My breath hitched. Your sister, your cousin, even your mother. They don't want you to know what I've done, what I've changed. And most of all, they don't want you to know why. A cold sweat broke across my skin. I looked up. Laura's face was unreadable. Daniel shifted nervously, eyes darting to the letter like he wanted to rip it from my hands. I kept reading. They will lie to you. They will manipulate you. And if you push too hard, they will do whatever it takes to keep you silent. But you have to know the truth. You deserve to know the truth. I swallowed hard. My fingers trembled slightly, but I kept going. They think I changed the will out of guilt. That I was just trying to make things right after years of distance. But that's not it. I changed it because I finally saw them for what they were. For what they were doing behind my back. The air in the room seemed to thin. I could feel Laura staring at me. I didn't look at her. I didn't trust myself not to snap. I turned to the last part of the letter. Check the safe. The real safe. You'll find everything you need there. But be careful, son. They won't let you walk away with the truth. A chill ran down my spine. I looked at the open safe behind the desk, the one I had seen when I first walked in. The one that had already been emptied. My father's warning rang in my head. The real safe. I turned to Laura, my jaw clenched. Where is it? She stayed quiet. Where's the real safe? My voice was low, controlled, but barely. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. I don't know what you're talking about. Bullshit. I slammed the letter down onto the desk. Dad left this for me. He knew what you were doing. He changed the will because of it. And now I'm supposed to believe you don't know where the real safe is. Laura's lips pressed together. It doesn't matter, she said quietly. My hands curled into fists. It does if you emptied the wrong one. Something flickered in her expression. There it is. She knew. I took a slow step toward her. You thought you could just keep it from me? Make the will disappear? Let me go on thinking Dad was some clueless old man who didn't know what he was doing. Laura's face darkened. He was confused. He was protecting me. Silence. Then, she exhaled sharply. You don't understand what's at stake. I let out a humorless laugh. No, Laura, I think I understand exactly what's at stake. Everything you thought you had. Everything you thought you could take from me. Daniel took a step forward, his voice edged with something like desperation. Look, maybe it's best if you just let this go. I turned to him, incredulous. Let this go? You're kidding, right? Neither of them answered. I clenched my jaw, my heart hammering. The real safe. I had to find it before they got rid of whatever was inside. I turned sharply toward the bookshelf. Dad used to keep his important documents close, but not obvious. I ran my hands along the edges of the shelves, pressing carefully. And then, a click. A small compartment swung open behind a row of old encyclopedias. Laura inhaled sharply. Daniel's face went pale. Inside, nestled between the wood panels, was a second safe. Unopened. They hadn't found it. I turned back to them, and for the first time that night, I smiled. Looks like Dad was smarter than you thought. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Laura's eyes darted to the safe, then back to me. Her face paled, but she masked it quickly, arms crossing over her chest. You don't know what's in there, she said carefully. She was stalling. Daniel took a step forward, his voice tight. Just, don't make this worse. I let out a sharp laugh, shaking my head. You're kidding, right? Worse? You lied to me. Kept me from my own father's truth. And now you want me to back off. Neither of them moved. Neither of them denied it. I turned back to the safe. The combination. Think. Dad wouldn't have made it complicated. I tried his birthday. No luck. Mom's. Nothing. My heart pounded as my fingers hovered over the dial. And then, it hit me. The last time we spoke, he mentioned something from my childhood. The year he built the treehouse for me. I swallowed hard. 1998. Click. The safe door swung open. Laura's breath hitched. Daniel muttered something under his breath. Inside, neatly stacked, were documents. Folders. A flash drive. I reached in, pulling out the top file. Legal paperwork. I flipped through it quickly, my stomach twisting with every line I read. Fraud. Embezzlement. Accounts linked to Laura. Daniel. Even Mom. I couldn't breathe. Dad didn't change the will just to leave me the estate. He changed it to protect it. From them. A single sheet of paper caught my eye. A letter of confession. Dad's own words. I discovered the missing money too late. Laura had already moved it. Daniel helped. Your mother knew. I was going to confront them, but they threatened to have me declared mentally unfit. I changed the will to keep them from taking everything, but I'm afraid they will stop at nothing. If anything happens to me, don't trust them. Find the safe. Find the proof. I gripped the page so hard it crumpled. They tried to erase this. To erase me. My stomach twisted as I turned back to Laura and Daniel. You stole from him, I said, my voice eerily calm. Laura inhaled sharply. It's not what you think. I held up the papers. You stole from Dad. You threatened him. And when he fought back, you tried to bury everything he left behind. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. We had no choice. Yes, you did, I shot back. You could have told the truth. You could have come clean. Instead, you let greed rip this family apart. Laura's hands curled into fists. Dad didn't know what he was doing. He was confused. He knew exactly what he was doing. My voice cracked, raw and angry. And you knew it too. That's why you did everything to keep me away. Her face twisted. You were never supposed to see this. My chest heaved. Well, I did. And I wasn't about to let them get away with it. I pulled my phone out. Snapped pictures of every document. Laura's eyes widened. Wait, too late. You think you can just take this to the cops? Daniel scoffed, trying to recover. This is family business. I met his gaze, cold and unflinching. No, this is criminal business. And you're going to pay for it. Laura's shoulders tensed. Don't do this. I shook my head. You already did. And with that, I walked out of the office. Past the glowing Christmas tree. Past the family who once meant everything to me. I stepped into the freezing night air, gripping the documents in my hands like a lifeline. They had tried to erase me. But now, I was the one holding the truth. A week later, the charges were filed. Fraud. Theft. Coercion. The evidence was undeniable. Laura and Daniel fought it, of course. Mom tried to plead ignorance. But the paper trail led right to her. Dad had been right all along. In the end, justice was served. But it didn't feel like a victory. I stood outside the house, my house now, watching as snow blanketed the roof. The home I had once cherished now felt hollow. Cold. I won. But I lost my family in the process. Bittersweet. Just like Dad warned me it would be. I exhaled, tucking my hands into my coat pockets. Merry Christmas, Dad, I murmured. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like he was still with me. Watching, protecting, just like he always had.
يعني احنا كل سنة بيبقى فيه تطور، بس هو الشكل العام انه بيبقى فيه تنظيم كويس في كل سنة. وهو الجديد المرة دي ان الحياة هي اللي بتغطي المهرجان. وتحية لكل العاملين في الحياة مني ومن فرقتي الموسيقية.
وعايزة
يعني
انوه لحضرتك كمان انه النهارده الحفلة ترند. حفلة حضرتك يمكن كان في ترند الاول الاستاذ علي الحجار وحضرتك النهارده. فيعني اعتقد ان ده نجاح كبير جدا، كمان المشاهدين اللي بيشوفونا على التلفزيون.
ما كانش ليا حظ ان انا احضر حفلة الاستاذ علي.
أيوة
لكن هتابع بقى بعد كده كل الحاجات.
تابع وتشوف بقى الترند بقى والحاجات. ان شاء الله. سريعا كده اي جديد عند حضرتك بتقدمه الفترة اللي جاية؟
يعني انا